Welcome back to Craft Corner. This is our next session and I'm going to show you how to make a simple hanging plant hanger made with string. I'm not showing you the posh knots because they take a little bit of getting used to. A lady in our craft club tried to show me in my 70s and a young lady in her 20s to do the knots, and it was hilarious because the knots just wouldn't work out right. But this is a simple way. Now I'll show you a quick way of measuring. If you have the string in your right hand and you put it out as far as you can, you turn your nose away from it and to the end of your nose. If you look, that's exactly 36 inches. So that is a yard. If you want to do a metre, you have to do 2 or 3 inches more. So we need 2 yards per strand, and we need 4 strands. So if you out to the side and to your nose, that's 1. And that's 2. This is just ordinary string. Then if we snip that, and my string is tangling up.
Oopsie.
It's because I've made so many of these in practice and I've got to the end of my string. So then you can measure it to the one you've already cut. So come on, string, don't wind up on me. Keep going. There we are, that's the end of that one. Then we try the next one.
Oh dear.
I think I'd be better getting the new ball, which I have just in case.
You did want to do knots, didn't you?
I did, yes, but not those kind. Oh dear, dear, dear. There's the other end. Is that a bit easier? Let's see if that one's a bit easier. I hope you don't get into all this trouble when you're doing it. Right, so this is the third one. There we are, almost. Come on, a bit further, a little ball of string. Nearly. I should have sorted this out before we started, I think.
Oh dear. We didn't Blue Peter it properly.
No, we didn't, that's true. It's all got wound up. Now come on, little bit of string. You're not going to be awkward to me like that. Where are we there? Right, that's number 3. Let's have number 4. He's determined to cause me problems.
I don't know.
Dear, dear,
Terrible,
dear.
showing you up.
Dear, 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 yes. I think we've got it now. There we are. There's number 4. I'll put that bit over there out the way. Right, so we've got 4 strands now. If you put the 2 ends together and loop it up like that. Now, if you've got a ring, like a key ring, you can use that. If not, I'll show you what you can do. If you haven't got a ring, I'll get my string again. And if you have an end and wind it around 2 fingers about 4 times and cut it, then you can carefully tie a knot. You want a reef knot, and I thought everybody knew how to do a reef knot, but a young lady told me the other day she didn't, so I'll show you. So you have your 2 strands, you go the left one over the right one, and through the loop, and then you go the right one over the left one and through the loop, and that is a reef knot. And then you get the 2 knots lying side by side, and that doesn't easily come undone. If you do them the other way, you get a granny knot, and that slips open.
Aww, poor granny.
When I was younger, I didn't know how to do it, and we had a couple of people waiting to pick a parcel up at our shop when I was a young girl, and I was busy trying to tie this knot, and the man kept saying, "She's done a granny knot again."
Oh dear.
And I was very embarrassed. Right, so you put your loop of your big string through the ring and then put the ends through. So then you can pull it up tight. So then you've got your ring, or you can use that ring to do it with. And if you snip the ends off, it doesn't quite so bad. So that's your hanging loop. Now, if you put your hanging loop there and you spread out all the ends, just spread them out like that. There, nearly there. That's it, they're all spread out now. So if you take your ruler, which
Oh dear.
It wants to leave me.
It's too heavy.
Come back here. So you take your ruler and you measure down 12 inches down one string. So you hang on to that and you get the next string along as you've spread them out, and mine moved away. There we are, that's the second string. If you do it from the top and get it even, then they'll be straight. So hold that at the same spot. And then you want to do one of these knots that I haven't found the name of yet, but I use quite regularly. One of those knots where you go over and through the ring. Hang on to the spot where it should be, and then just gently push it back to that spot. So that is held in the same place. Right, so you've got 2 strands tied together. And then you get hold of the next 2 strands at the same place. Make sure they're at the same knot, side length of to the knot. Round again and through the gap. Carefully pull it back to there. And then you want the next 2 along. To the same spot. And do the same knot again. This table is very slippery and my string is sliding off. Push it carefully back to that spot. And then we've got 2 more strands. So we find the same spot for those 2 strands. And knot them as well. My table's creaking. I'm leaning on it too much.
I was leaning on it a little bit before and it was creaking.
There we are. Now, you spread those out again. Now we've got more strands to spread out. I shall put that nearer you, Jo.
I'll hold it up here, shall I?
That would be lovely if you could hang on to that end.
I'll try to keep the camera still as well.
Off the table. There we are. So that's all straight. And then we want 4 inches. You miss the first strand and you go on to the second strand. And if we do, was it 4 inches or did I do 3? Wait a minute, let me see. Yes, 4 inches. 4 inches, which is there. So then you take this strand and the one on the next one along. So you put those two together at the 4-inch spot. So you miss the first one and you take the next two along and tie those. Same knot. When you get really clever at macrame, you can do all the posh knots with all the twists and everything else in it. But this is the simple way. Right. Now we move along to the next two. So then we move down to the next place. And then we tie those two knots. Those two strands in a knot rather than those two knots.
You have knots on the brain.
Yeah. That's it. And then you come along to the next two strands. There. Make sure you keep holding the place where they've got to be so they don't move any. And then you take the two outside ends and bring them together and find the place and knot the two outside ends together. Right, and then you bring them all together in a bunch and you go down, where are we, inches? About 3 inches. About 3 inches all together, and you do another knot with all of the strands together. There we are. And then, if you get your pot, you can put your pot in and you have a hanging knotted holder. If you want, you can do more knots. You can do beads in it if you want. And we've done some on the wall behind us. If I show you, these have got 3 sections of knots, and then we've done a double one, and we've put beads in the strands there, and it's a branch across. I saw on the Facebook that was on Pinterest, they had wedding sections there with all little candles in pots and hanging on branches. So it's quite a good way of filling a wall, doing a wall hanging, and you can experiment with all different ways of doing it, and it makes a nice way to put your plants. Well, I hope you enjoy that session, and I hope you all try to do some plant hangers and find places to hang them. I think they would hang against a wall. If you have only got a hook on a wall, you can adjust it to hang on a wall if you haven't got one that hangs from the ceiling or a piece of wood like we have. So I hope you enjoy it, and we'll see you next time. What's our next session,
Next
Jo?
time I'm going to do some baking, and I'm going to teach you how to make cheese scones.
That sounds very tasty. All right. Bye-bye.